Welcome back to Crypto Learning Community. Today we're taking a look at Bitcoin. It's going to be a follow-up video to yesterday's video where we really got everything we were looking for and also some of the stuff we weren't looking for, and I want to talk about this. So right off the bat, we were watching the divergences that were appearing on the 24-minute and the 12-minute time frames. As you can see here, momentum waves getting lower with money flow coming out as price was making higher highs, ultimately right into a supply zone that we were talking about, and from there we retraced. And same goes for the 12-minute time frame. Now we did have money flow came up a little bit right here, and I think on the 24-minute, let's see. No, never mind. Everything, that all worked out there, and that's what gave us our retracement. What happened on Bookmap, though, what I was warning about, because what I was saying is I didn't really want us to go too high above 100,000, and we did go pretty deep into that area. We were watching the volume area high, the 786 and whatnot, and what happened was once we took out the liquidity at 100,000, I was saying, like, if we start getting limit orders above 100,000, like what you see right here, these are limit orders, that's usually a tell that this is probably going to go higher. But what's nice about this type of trading style is you're still able to catch that retracement, right? Like the divergences in money flow gave us that retracement. That's a nice easy short. My entry was like right at 100,000 or something. And let's now I'm not going to give any idea on if we're going to go higher. Personally, I mean, just by looking at this, we very much could. We have taken out major liquidity levels, so I mean, if we're really going all the way to 102, it's going to be at least 102,700 in my opinion. It makes no sense to stop right here at just like a naked point of control. Yeah, right at the naked point of control. I mean, we could. I guess we could, yeah. Man, that lines up perfectly with 102, doesn't it? You could watch there for more shorts. I'll see what happens on Bookmap and other confluences. We could have like divergences or whatnot. That'd be a good reason to short. I did just, I am scalped a little short right here, and I'm watching for a break of structure of these lows. And the reason why is because on the hourly time frame we had a break of structure right here. Unfortunately, I missed the long. I was sleeping in, but your long would have been just off the order block down here and following a higher time frame market structure where this is protected right here, and this is just a higher low. So based off of that order flow, we should be targeting here. But that's just a part of playing the fractal too, right? Like, there's always a time to short and a time to long. It just depends on what are your targets for that fractal. Wonder if you had confluence with any fib levels on this. Maybe the 76. Yeah, nice 786 pull. That'd have been a good trade. It all happened very quickly. Yeah, within a matter of minutes, it moved all the way down, and then it left very quickly as well. Oh man, this would have been a brilliant trade. Your break of structure is literally right here. Like, that's nice. So if you were to just mark it in at the break, and then also, like, you would have to stick your stop loss back here, and then target that highs up here. That's almost a 2-to-1, but I would have added, as we retrace back, a little fair value gap, other, confluences you might have had. Let's say you just got on with the bodies there. It's a 2-to-1. Or if you want to wait for another break of structure like here, and then you could put your stop loss at that wick there. Yeah, that would have been a nice trade. I like that. Order flow would have had a major TP up here, as I talked about on the larger fractal. Let's see what happened on that CVD we're looking at. Had some interesting things happening yesterday. Okay, so yeah, it was a CVD off of this high to those highs. And here's your cheat sheet for you. So let's get the snipping tool so I could doodle a bit for you. Oh. Alright, so we had the higher highs very clearly, and we actually held CVD. I think even on this high, it didn't break, it just, they're at the same level. Spot did have higher, but I don't pay as much attention to spot CVD. And then open interest ultimately went from lower, the exhausted pattern here, exhausted buyer pattern, and it kept getting higher and higher until ultimately it became a short squeeze. And so it kept coming higher and higher and higher. So in hindsight, it's easy to see all of that. I think we even had, I'll use a different color. We'll leave that the way that is. So more locally, I think it was here. Yeah, you started to see the exhausted buyer pattern, but on the spot, and that gave us a cool off. So you can measure this, on these larger gaps, and you can even look for it more locally. And it's always really nice when you have very clearly defined moves. Like there's a very clear high here and a very clear high here. So that's nice. And open interest very clearly coming out as well. So CVD gave us some nice setups. Open interest been coming out this whole time. Even on this big push up, you had some open interest coming in, but it's not as much if you compare it to like this move over here, that large rise in open interest just for that move. Let's see. Yeah, there's really not much else to be said. These are obvious levels we could come down to. I wouldn't trust these as much on the lower, but they are points of interest, and watch Bookmap as we come to those levels again. Let's see what 90. Yeah, I'd rather look at 97 there. So 97 lines up with that low pretty nicely. Got our POC. So if we break a smaller time frame fractal, then we'll be targeting this low and this low here. It'd be nice. With that short we're currently in. And I'll add on the break structure too. Ultimately, things look more likely to go up through these levels. But today is Thursday. Let's see what happens. I wish we can pull up this other liquidity map. I don't have my high block open, but there's some things on the liquidity map I want to show you. Actually, maybe I can pull up an old one. Sometimes I'll have the old ones on here. Yeah, this is yesterday's. Yeah, here we go. Okay, here's nice. And that's what's really kind about this person who does this. You have this backlog of data on Bookmap to go and compare and see how these algorithms are responding, and you can go back test and see, okay, how price action lines up, which is just, that's a phenomenal thing to do. So here's pretty much what where we were at yesterday. Like I said, I was watching 100,000, and we got exactly what we didn't want to see with the limit orders begin to start appearing up here. Yeah. All right, let's go a little forward. Okay. I'll just let it run. So here's what I was talking about. We have this is that liquidity at that 102.7 level. That's primed. We could come that high, very likely. Actually, I used the word primed, but what I'm really expecting to happen is this liquidity right below it. I imagine us to come right up to that naked point of control, the 102 level. So we have a naked point of control, we have liquidity there, because this high right here, and we could clearly see this on Bookmap, that one right there, not the bright green, but the one up below it with that dark gap, there's liquidity there. I imagine that's where we'll stop, and by rejecting there and coming down, we will prime this liquidity to attack later on. That's just usually how these algorithms work. It could just come up, tap it, but I can foresee this scenario I've laid out for you being very likely, and so I'm going to watch for that. We have, yeah, all that liquidity. That was what we were targeting before. Came up and tapped that. That's this move here. There's not much else to be said. To review my trading plan for you, I am looking for longs down here. Really signs of strength. You know, smaller fractal market structure flips. I'm not looking to long in here to target this liquidity. It's not how I do it. I am short, and I'm watching for that break of structure on the smaller fractal, so that we can target these lows down here. If we come down to these areas, sure, I'll look for maybe a divergence or something to take a long up to these highs. But I missed the train. The train was right here to get back on. For your break of structure, it's gonna be well, it's technically here. Go ahead and mark that in. That's on a smaller fractal. Unless we break this high and move it up to here. But for now, that's the way things are. Actually, it's right there. Could SFP this area. Yeah. So locally shorting this down, and then I'll look for longs if we come down. If we come up above this high, I'll be watching for divergences. Just look at where we are, look at where money flows at. we could start doing this little thing up into this area. Go ahead and delete that. We do have the POC of this larger range. Lines up in this area too. Could be a nice area for sure. Alright. Well, I'm done. I hope y'all have a blessed day. And good luck trading.